Warning, the following video will contain spoilers from the Flash episodes Out of Time, Rogue Time, and Tricksters. If for whatever reason you have not seen the shows yet, spoiler alert. If you don't want anything ruined or spoiled for you, stop watching now. Okay, for everybody else that's still here, hi guys, Dave here. And man, I just had to watch Tricksters again. The fight scene alone at the beginning of the episode was freaking amazing. And we got to see some pretty interesting revelations, including the real face of the Reverse Flash. You know, good old Eddie Thawne. And the actor they got to play him was a spot-on guy as far as looking at, like in the comics, which I think is interesting and something I'll have to go into here. This video is going to have some theories about possible things that are coming up for, if not Season 2 of The Flash, potentially sometime between now and Season 10, when we get to the clip where Barry goes back in time thanks to the crisis, or something, or he disappears during the crisis, I should say. Here's my thoughts. The episode Tricksters got to show not only more about how Thawne got here, but apparently Gideon is kind of like PDA for telling about things as far as for monitoring his connection to the Speed Force, the energy in his cells. Apparently, his trip through time in the battle with the Flash actually drained the speed out of his body. There was no trace of the Speed Force or his ability to go through time, so he was stranded 15 years ago. So, that was interesting. But what was really got me was, just out of Justice League Doom, when the Trickster slapped the bomb on Barry's wrist and he started to take off, Wells talked him through vibrating through solid matter for the first time to get it off of him. But it was the description, how Tom Cavanaugh did it. It was a moment of pure bliss as far as for watching an actor. I mean, it was fantastic. You know, Tom, thumbs up, dude, seriously. Describing the rush, the flow of the speed through you. That's something that comic book writers have done a few times through the books, and there have been some beautifully done ways, but this is, seeing it on the screen like this was masterful. Excellent. But that got me also thinking about good old Reverse Flash and his need for Barry to essentially get faster and faster so that his own speed seems to get jump-started from it. But the rush that he got from it, the way Tom Cavanaugh expressed that, got me thinking about a very dangerous drug in DC Comics called Velocity 9. For those of you guys that don't know, it's actually got a bit of a history, and depending on what you see from the DC Wikipedia or the Wikipedia page itself, you get some information here. It kind of varies about who developed it first. See, Harrison Wells is kind of like a mishmash of different things from versions of the Reverse Flash that we've seen before. Yeah, he was a brilliant scientist whose powers come and go, like the Rival from the original Golden Age Flash, Jay Garrick's days. He had a drug called Velocity 9 that supposedly replicated his powers, but it eventually wore off. So, so his powers came and went, kind of like good old Wells's here. Of course, he has revealed in another timeline that he actually is Eddie Thawne, and then that's been the cat out of the bag, so surprise! But it's not just that, but the thing with him being in the wheelchair got us thinking about maybe he's Hunter Zolomon. Well, because of this whole mishmash and pastiche of who he might have been to keep us guessing, I got to thinking that one thing that he may have been doing with Barry is that Barry runs and generates the Speed Force, but he needs to get up to a certain level before he can really start to unleash his power. And I think that maybe Wells is using the treadmill as a conduit for Barry to use his speed to siphon off eventually to jumpstart himself. It makes sense, at least. But Velocity 9 is also a drug that in the comics, like I said, in one version, the Rival, an evil Golden Age speedster, had created. In the comics, Vandal Savage, another bad guy, had actually made it, and it gave people super speed temporarily. But it had some nasty, nasty side effects. I mean, it would cause premature aging, body parts burning up, a lot of really bad stuff, and the crash was just royally sucked. So it had some negative side effects. But if he needs speedsters to generate speed, and for him to somehow use to jumpstart his own abilities, I would not be surprised if not Season 2, but sometime between now and Season 10, we're eventually going to see Velocity 9 or some form of it in the TV show The Flash. It's all about that rush of speed. If you had the power to take a drug that temporarily gave you the powers of the Flash, would you? I'm not advocating drug use, of course, so I'm not done about that. But that would be a heck of an alluring story that we would see in the show. Of course, with the negative side effects and other people getting burned out. I think Red Trinity, Blue Trinity, they had some very bad side effects from it all, so not a good idea. But something else happened in the comics, that there was a speedster named Inertia. He was actually a clone of Bart Allen, a.k.a. Barry's grandson in the future, a.k.a. Impulse, Kid Flash, even was the Flash himself briefly when the others were gone. Here's where it gets weird. Inertia is a clone, and when something happened and the Speed Force was cut off from him, he went to Deathstroke. And actually, Deathstroke had helped to create a new version of the drug called Velocity 10. It gave him back his super speed without the same side effects that Velocity 9 would have. Eventually, things did not go well for him, but this actually happened. So, much like we're seeing with the All-Star team-up coming up for the Flash soon, and we're starting to see crossovers in the Arrowverse. In fact, we're also seeing the whole Arrow Flash spin-off series is going to be happening, where there's going to be characters mishmashing and doing their own things. There's going to be a lot of stuff happening in the TV DC universe. So, much like we've seen teasers of heroes teaming up, as well as villains breaking out of the prison from underneath Star Labs and them working together as the Rogues, my prediction is that one day we may see Deathstroke teaming up with Wells, and if Velocity 9 starts to get developed, what if, much like with Mirakuru, we start seeing Deathstroke and him working together to create a formula that combines both that and Mirakuru to reduce those side effects, called Velocity 10. Velocity 10 is something that was used in the comics before. We haven't seen it since the New 52. But what if this super drug would be created by Deathstroke and Wells in the TV show? Like I said, it's all speculation here. Also, there's other speculation, of course, going on with Eddie Thawne. See, here's the thing that's also been getting me, guys. When you look in the comic books, only really the hardcore people that have been fans growing up for decades would see that Barry Allen in the comics and Barry Allen on the TV show, Grant Gustin, a great actor, but he doesn't quite resemble what we think of classically as Barry Allen. I mean, no blonde hair. Of course, yeah, they did the same thing with Kristen Crook playing Lala Lang back in the day. That yes, she doesn't have red hair, but we fell in love with her anyway. So there are certain things that are being played around with. I get that. But classically, when we think of someone with the physical features that we think of normally as Barry Allen, blonde hair, rather stout, brave and stuff, Eddie Thawne would actually be a better candidate for that. Another prediction I'm making, I would not be at all surprised if, much like in the comics, Barry Allen actually originally had a twin brother. But the Thawne family was in the next room, and apparently the doctor screwed up, killed their baby, so they took one of the twins from the Allens, gave it to the Thawne family, and told the Allens that the twin was stillborn. I would not be surprised if we eventually find out that Eddie Thawne, his real name is Malcolm Edward Thawne, or actually he was the original twin of good old Barry. Now in the comics he would later go on to be a guy named Cobalt Blue, but he'd find out later that because of the hospital mix-up and going off with the Thawne family, eventually Barry's life became so much better than his. He became the villain Cobalt Blue to try to ruin Flash's legacy and eventually try to use powers to steal his speed and the stuff to take care of things. And this begins the rivalry between the Thawne family and the Allen family. And this also may actually have the direct link in bloodline between Eddie Thawne and Eobard Thawne in the 25th century. Like I said, all this is speculation and it's all we could really do, but this all got me thinking about the way Wells described using his speed and the addictive properties, the rush of it all. Could Velocity 9 be introduced? Who knows? Please, guys, I love hearing from my fellow Flash fans. Please, like, comment, subscribe, comment here and whatever you can. And please spread the word out here. What do you think? Do you think we're going to get Velocity 9 as a possible way to see other people becoming speedsters? Maybe this could even jumpstart other speedsters we're familiar with, or a little less known speedsters popping up in the show. Tell me what you think, guys. Please, take care. Peace. Yum yum.